Andrew, TikTok, it's time to rock. We've just launched and Andrew's just gone into a spin, I think. So how's everyone going in the chat? We're going to have a little indulge ourselves in a bit of Fender Stratocaster stuff today. And good to see everyone here. Who have we got in the chat? We've got Nelson, Derek, Teresa, Arvin, Tom Thomas. Is it Tim Thomas? Sorry, my apologies. How's everyone going out there? Hope everyone's safe and well. And we're having a few technical problems here. That's why we're a little bit late. And it looks like these technical problems are continuing. So I'm just going to continue on. How we got? So Aaron, how are you, Aaron? Greetings. And today's topic, we're going to be talking about Fender Stratocasters. We're going to go through our Fenders. I'm hoping Andrew can get back on, and we're not sure where he is at the moment. He's just, like I said, having a few technical problems. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Fenders. We're going to talk about our other Fenders that we have, other than our Eric Clapton ones, because we've already done that. Andrew, are you back?
Yeah, that's embarrassing. Really sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, we're going to might, if it always happens straight away, it's going to be an issue for the show. So we'll see how we go, guys. Really, really sorry about that. Who's in the chat, brother?
Oh, I was just going through before. We've got Amanda.
Oh, were you? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, Amanda, got Ellen, Mum, Aaron, got Tim, Teresa, we've got Arvin, Derek. How are you, Derek? Nelson. And I was just explaining to them that we're going to be going through, once you came back, our Fenders. And I never got to the point where I was going to say we're going to rank our favorite 5 Strat solos.
Yeah, what I've done, I'm glad you mentioned that. And g'day everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure. What I've done, mate, is I haven't picked any Clapton stuff.
Right.
So that made it a little bit interesting. That made it very interesting. So,
yep.
But I've gone with my heart. And I think there might be a couple of surprises there for you, bros. So,
that's good. Well, did you want to? Because I know we discussed, Andrew, earlier in the week, that we weren't going to be discussing our Eric Clapton strats, and we always give Eric the love that he deserves on this channel, and we've got him in the background there. So, do you want to drop any Eric Clapton out of these lists?
Do I?
You want to do it? Just we're bringing in, because I've got more honourable mentions than I have top 5s.
Okay. Oh, look, it's always a pleasure for you to discuss your compilation, and I know that. I'm always keen to discuss any picks you've got. So I'm just, give me a second here, mate. Just give me a second. I'm just getting my list up. Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second. So if anybody hasn't already subscribed to our Instagram accounts, please see them there on the bottom. And if anybody does come and watch this show on replay, please subscribe to our family of Instagram friends there on the bottom. Brad Cook Music, Simon Williams 33, Kurt S 5150, and I happen to have. Check us out over there. That'll be great. Bro, what's your first song? What's your first solo?
My first one? Well, this particular song, I mean, it was very hard to pick one from this particular artist. Probably one of the most influential guitarists to me of all time. Very hard to pick just one, but I kept going back to this particular song for a number of reasons, and I'll explain it. But Jimi Hendrix, Axis Bold as Love. There's just something about this song that absolutely has everything wonderful that a song should have. It's got depth to the song. It's got warmth. It's got color. It's got style, amazing guitar tones, in my opinion. Some of the best Stratocaster tones that I've, you go and listen to that neck pickup on the intro, the way he's playing, it's so delicate too. And it's one of those songs where, Hendrix is known for, Foxy Lady, Purple Haze, Fire, that aggressive blues, psychedelic rock style. And this one, he just shows a little bit more the delicate side to his playing. And, songs like Little Wing, which is another notable mention, was something that I was very close. But this song in particular, I mean, the outro solos are phenomenal. When he kicks in the fuzz and it's just like game on. But he's playing with so much feel. I can't really express in words, but I picture it in colors. And I was trying to explain this to you. When I hear music, I hear colors. I hear, and it's funny that the lyrics are, he goes through color schemes in the lyrics. For me, that's how I'm hearing the songs. And when I hear the solo, I'm hearing, like purpley, swirly stuff. It's like honey dripping. It's like golden. It's such an amazing tone that he's got. And I have to say, every time I went back to Access Boulder's Love, because I studied this week, Andrew, for this show. I know we normally wing it. We normally make a bit of fun of the fact that we jump on here and we wing it. I've got no notes really, but I studied the songs to make sure that I was picking 5 that were notably the most important to me, and this is one of them. So Access Boulder's Love, Jimi Hendrix is my first one. What's yours, Andrew? Or have you got anything to say about that?
Oh, well, I've got a lot to say about that. I'm glad you've picked that song. I've got a Jimi Hendrix song, obviously. If you're going to be picking top 5 Stratocaster solos to have any kind of credibility moving forward, it has to include Jimi Hendrix, clearly. Oh. So I'm glad, once again, that the show maintains its integrity. A little bit about knowing something. Just want to do a quick shout out. Tomorrow is Teresa's birthday.
Oh, okay. Happy birthday, awesome. Teresa.
Yeah. We love birthdays around here because, we always we're always under 30 around here.
Yeah. We don't grow. We don't get any older than 30 here. That's for sure.
Access Boulder's Love. What a great song. And I'm glad you picked it because of the delicateness of that song. So in no particular order, just hold on, my phone is not, I'm not having a good time. Hold on. In no particular order, I'm going to counteract I'm going to play your delicate Access Boulder's Love with my Jimi Hendrix pick. And my Jimi Hendrix pick is Voodoo Child. Now, there's an interesting little thing behind Voodoo Child. I never liked it for a long time, bro. I never liked it. And I don't know why, but it was certainly something that's grown on me over the last 20 years. It was to a point now where I think it's one of my favorite Jimi Hendrix songs. But like you, now you be honest, you had to pick one Jimi Hendrix song, or have you picked 5 of them?
No, I thought it would be fair to just pick one from each Strat player that really influenced me and heavily influenced me.
Okay, so this is your number 1 Hendrix solo this week.
This week, yeah. Look, Access Boulder's Love will always be up there for me. I have put down honorable mentions, and for Hendrix, I was going to mention a few of them. And the top of the honorable mentions was both versions of Voodoo Child for me. The Voodoo Child Slight Return and Voodoo Child. From both from Electric Ladyland. Yeah. I remember the first time I ever heard, and I'm glad you picked it. The first time I ever heard Voodoo Child Slight Return, that wah intro, how it fades in, it just was like it had me drawn in. I wanted to hear what was going to happen. And I specifically remember I was pretty young the first time I heard Voodoo Child Slight Return, and I was hearing all the panning and stuff. And you think about that was done like in the late 60s. Eddie Kramer, it was a genius, really. I'm not sure I'm pretty sure he had a lot to do with that song. But the playing on it is phenomenal. The tones are phenomenal. And that wah tone that he got, man alive, with the fuzz and the wah together, he was just, I mean, we love Eddie Van Halen on this show. For me, Hendrix was the innovator before Eddie, and then Eddie came along. And there's been some amazing guitar players in between. But two game changers for me. Hendrix was the first, in my opinion. And Voodoo Child Slight Return, without a doubt, it could be mine next week, my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm. One of the interesting things about Jimi Hendrix and the Stratocaster, from a rock and roll blues perspective, bro, and people in the chat, is that you could get away with this argument, couldn't you? You could say that Jimi Hendrix and his Stratocaster tone is the definitive rock blues Stratocaster tone, and it's from what he achieved with it, with the with his Marshalls, and as Brad said, with his fuzz and his wah, he put that wah into just what is it? Another ace in his deck. And you get to a point now where you listen to Hendrix, you expect to hear the wah. It's like when's the wah coming in? One of the definitive defining rock and roll tones ever when you're talking Stratocasters. So yeah, I'm glad we mentioned that. I suppose what's really, really interesting now, we've got rid of the ace, the king in the deck. That's great. So what else follows? So what's number two? Whoa, what's your next pick? Because they're all great.
Yeah, I mean, look, 1 and 2 for me, they could clearly be both number ones for me, without a doubt. Jimi Hendrix was the dude for me. Growing up, all I ever wanted to do was, play guitar, be able to play like, Jimi Hendrix, all that rhythm stuff, and the stuff that I found, captivated me as a kid. But, and the thing was with Hendrix, when I first saw a visual of Hendrix, I was freaked out. I was like, saw this big afro dude and like playing this strat backwards and like upside down and his clothing. And one of the first things I ever saw was, Hendrix live at Monterey, and that blew my mind. I have to say, that's one of those, like we spoke about, Song Remains the Same. The other video that blew my mind was live at Monterey. But my second one would have to be Stevie Ray Vaughan. You know me really well, Andrew, and Stevie Ray Vaughan to me is the king of Texas blues. He to me is the ultimate blues guitar player, without a doubt. He was everything he did was there was so much space and tone and feel in his playing, and it was really hard for me to pick one song as an example of one of my favorite Stevie Ray Vaughan songs, but I picked Tightrope. I picked Tightrope because the song, to me, the solo, the rhythm chords are beautiful. The way he's playing all those rhythm chords underneath it, the tones he's pulling are beautiful out of his strat. When the solo kicks in, the start of it, there's all that space. There's space between the notes. He's just playing from here. You can tell he's got his head back. He's just playing, man. There's nothing more going on there than him just playing. He's feeling every note he's playing. I was just looking at some of my notes here. You can feel the guitar solo. He's putting what he's singing about into the solo, and he's almost telling a story. It's like us talking like this, like, and this one time I went to band camp, like that's how he's phrasing it, like he's telling a story on guitar. That to me is, everyone in this world wants to play like lightning speed and, and all that. But Stevie Ray had that, but he just knew how to dial it back and play to the feel of the song. And what a rhythm section too underneath that song. The Double Trouble were amazing. They're just amazing. They were like a solid foundation for Stevie just to do his thing. They were just phenomenal. So I would love to do more Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff on this channel. It's Texas Blues, but for me, there's a list about this long that I had to cull through for Stevie Ray Vaughan, and I picked Tightrope because every time I listened to it, I was just like, wow. And then the outro part of Tightrope, the soloing at the outro, where he's just stinging that note it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable.
That was okay. So, so obviously the second guy that I had to include on my Stratocaster top solos was Stevie Ray Vaughan, and narrowing Stevie Ray Vaughan down to one song was pretty difficult. I spent 20 minutes, half an hour yesterday at work culling 8 songs from, and that was on my list. That was on my list. I just want to do a quick shout out, bro. We've got Mark Tanner in the chat, Deja Voodoo. We got Glenn Allen in the chat, and we've got Crappy Luxury. So just want to reiterate, guys, we've purposely left, I have purposely left Eric Clapton out of this top 5 Stratocaster list because we do shows specifically devoted to Clapton, and there's more coming. So he gets a big bite of the apple, but on this little apple, he's not getting a bite. So forgive us.
So we put him in the background so that no one feels left out. Yeah, or he doesn't feel left out.
That's exactly right. You got it, man. You're onto it. That doesn't make me feel bad talking about Stratocaster players and not including Clapton. And also, we got to do a big shout out to the girl from Texas, Sonia, in the chat as well. Hey, Sonia, thank you. Yep. Always a pleasure. Always cool catching up with you guys for these midweek shows. Give Brad a bit of love, guys, because he's in lockdown where he is for lockdown number 5. So give him some support. Put some hearts on his Instagram account when he's on there. Share his Instagram account. That's going to motivate him to be more and more live over there.
Yeah, I'm trying to come up with some stupid little ideas. I don't know if anyone saw my stupid little thing I posted earlier today to try and help promote people onto here. So yeah.
It's always good. So yeah. It's all related.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's go tit for tat then. So you've picked Stevie Ray Vaughan. So, bro, I've picked Little Wing. Little Wing by Stevie Ray Vaughan. When I first heard that, I always like talking to you guys about when I first heard something, and I was trying to remember when I first heard Little Wing. I can't remember. It must have been on one of the when the collected works or greatest hits came. I can't remember when was that released. You're a Stevie Ray Vaughan nut, you can tell me.
Well, it was obviously, I'm just trying to look up the date now, but I've got like bootleg. I've got so much Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff, but I know the exact album you're referring to there, Andrew, and it was released in the 90s, I think, like the mid to late 90s, wasn't it? And but it was actually was it on the Sky's Crying record? Was it on that as well?
Yes, so it was on that's okay. So forgive me. See, I've done no research for this.
No,
you're absolutely right.
The top of my head, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Sky is Crying, and that was the compilation that came out not long after he passed away. And I remember, listening to that version going, And even now, look, I don't want to throw these little snips away willy-nilly, but sometimes we talk about how we get chills or we get the goosebumps or something like that. I love his version of it. I just think it's beautiful. It goes on. It's just the fact that there's no singing. It's just remarkable. I love it. I had to pick that. Texas Flood. It was a toss-up between that and Texas Flood, the live version of Texas Flood.
Yeah.
But I'm happy with picking for this week, Little Wing, bro.
Yeah, look, it was one of the ones on my list too, Andrew, and I'm glad you picked it. There was I could probably, honorable mentions. I wanted to put Lenny on my list because that's just highlights his love for Hendrix in that as well. But it's, you can hear Wing Cries Mary, you can hear all sorts of stuff in that, but it just highlights his ability to play delicately, which Little Wing, there's the crossover of all the delicate stuff and then the wonderful stuff where he's playing with his head back and just, it's amazing. And, everyone talks about, and it bugs me to an extent when people go, oh, Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan was just like Hendrix reborn or reincarnated or whatever. And that to me is rubbish because Stevie Ray he loved Hendrix, but he had his own style. And, it's undeniable. If you listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan play, he never tried to play like Hendrix. He honored that, but he played it in his own way. And Stevie is probably, a better player than Hendrix, but Hendrix was just as innovative as well. But that's probably a bit of a silly statement, really. But, I just hate this argument that everyone goes into about, Stevie Ray, Hendrix. They were identities of their own is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Stevie held his own and he put his stamp on that version of Little Wing, which is what I'm trying to get to. So, yeah, it's beautiful.
I think a lot of people have weathered that down a little bit over the years, that Stevie versus Jimmy kind of carry on. You know what I mean? I do remember it being like firmly entrenched in a lot of conversations. But look, I agree with you. His version of Little Wing is just about perfect. It's got great technique. He's got his raking. He's playing with the volume. He's playing aggressively and then he's playing very slowly. He's doing pull-offs. It's just a very good example of his general, ability to play blues guitar. I can't add more to what Brad said, other than I just think Little Wing is fantastic.
Oh, beautiful, mate, beautiful. It highlights you can hear his guitar amp, you can hear it all. You can hear his fingers on the frets, you can hear everything in that. That's just a amazing version of it. It's beautiful. And he plays through it like how long does it go for? It goes forever. It seems to go for like 6-7 minutes or something. It's just phenomenal,
And I'm glad you mentioned that because that's one of the great things about that song is it's just long enough. Often we talk about sometimes songs aren't long enough or songs might be too long. We don't whinge and whine about that too much, though, do we? Really, about a song being too long? Certainly, no. Short song. But jeepers, mate, I love that song, and I think they made a mistake not releasing it earlier. I don't know why. And when we do a live stream with Matt, it's a question probably we could pose to Matt and ask Matt why. What's the bet he knows the answer?
Yeah, that's Matt from Dropkick Blues Guys. If you're not sure who we're talking about, we're going to get him on the show again at some point. So, yeah. So if you're watching this later, Matt, we're going to tee it up. We keep trying to organise it. But, it's the time zone thing that's always the problem, isn't it? We if we were all in the same time zone, it'd be really easy to organise this stuff. But, it's Wednesday where we are. It's 5 o'clock where I am. It's 7 o'clock where you are. But it's Thursday there, so it's still Thursday. Tuesday there, isn't it? Tuesday.
That's correct.
They're a day behind.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct, Brad. Yeah.
Probably late at night or something.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, we've got some cats in the chat. We've got Johnny Heartbreaker jumping in saying g'day, and we've got Fast Eddie VH in here as well. Thank you guys for giving us your lists. So there's a couple of things here. I've purposely left out Rory Gallagher too, and I'll tell you why. We'll tell you why. And that's the Rock Professor hasn't done it yet, has he? He hasn't released the album that we're...
No, he's been naughty.
Yes. So we're just going to... I've purposely left out Rory Gallagher because that's the next record where, the next artist we're talking on the ranking the track. So I didn't want to rain on the parade.
No, but it needs to be brought up because we've got to promote it while we're on and people are watching. So yeah, fantastic. I'm looking forward to that one because I love Rory Gallagher, but I haven't given him enough love. You know what I mean? Like I haven't given him the love that he deserves. So I'm looking forward to that one. But so there are a few of those I've definitely put honourable mentions if I haven't put them in my list. Now, my next one, are we up to the next one, or we're up to?
Yeah.
So we're hard, cold, stone. We're leaving Clapton off this. Is that what we're agreeing with?
No, I have. I have. Yeah. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Well, otherwise it'll be 5 Clapton songs.
Well, it could have quite easily been 5, like Jimi Hendrix. It could have been 5 Stevie Ray Vaughan. It could have been 5. Look, I feel the need to put Clapton in there. I'm going to say Clapton, Old Love, off 24 Nights. Love it. I mean, Journeyman as well, but I love the 24 Nights version of that is just wow. Derek's back in. Derek just put his back in the room.
Go and have a look at the channel. Brad and I with Michael, we did a 2-part series on 24 Nights. So if you guys want to check out what we've said about that recording, go and have a look back on the channel. But sorry to interrupt, brother.
Later.
Later.
But we love Clapton on here, and Clapton. That 24 Nights, as you know, Andrew, and I've mentioned it when we did those shows, 24 Nights is the main reason I got into Clapton. You know what I mean? That I went backwards. Obviously, I loved Layla and other sort of love songs and 461 Ocean Boulevard, and I loved those, but 24 Nights just sealed the deal. And then I went backwards and, I was a Cream fan, but if you listen to his playing on Old Love in 24 Nights, it makes me want to hold back. I'm holding back tears. It makes me want to get emotional. So you can feel what he's, you can feel his pain. You can feel like that sort of broken up, that love. He's still got that there for someone. You can feel that in the solo. I think he channels that into the song. Every time he plays that, do you think maybe he puts himself in that headspace again, Andrew? Because it seems to be whenever I've seen him play that song, it's the most emotional I see Clapton play. It just seems to be, that old flame that just doesn't go away, but it wasn't meant to be. So amazing. So I hope you guys are happy in the chat. I know there was a few people that wanted to leave the room because we weren't going to include Clapton. Derek was he was out of here. I think we lost a couple of viewers instantly. We might get them back now. They unsubscribed, but now they're subscribed again. I'm doing it for the team. Clapton to me is, he's one of those guys, man. I couldn't leave off this list. So what are your thoughts on that, Andrew? I know how you feel about the song because we've discussed it, but,
Oh, look, I love Clapton. Clapton is it for me. So, we've got to pick one. Yeah, and one of the great things that we love about the show with you guys is that it forces us to negotiate some of these other guys and put them into perspective and do comparisons and evaluations, because that's great. We love them all, but we've got to have one. And, I've made it abundantly clear Clapton is the number one for me. And, I'm happy we can ditch everything else and do shows on Eric Clapton. But no, that'd only be me, you, and Derek on the show. That'll be about it.
There'll just be 3 people, but that's all right. The rock professor loves Clapton too, but not to the extent that we do. Not to the extent that we do.
Yeah,
we're nuts. I think people geek out about artists all the time. We geek out about Clapton. I mean, we got a guitar with his friggin' name on it.
But I get the point that you're making, though, about that song in particular. When you watch it with the DVD, we made this point, didn't we? That's one of the reasons why the recording has such a big impact on Brad, especially because you had the music and you've got the DVD or the VHS. And for a long time, a lot of people never got that. They just had the music. And for us to be part of seeing the DVDs or the VHSs, bro, it gave us a different dimension to the song. And to see Clapton just lean back and close his eyes and just play this song abundantly from within himself and get lost in it, it's remarkable. I don't know what's better, watching the performance or listening to it. I don't think we made a. I don't think we said one was better than the other, did we?
No. Well, look, honestly, for me, visually watching it with the stereo cranked, phenomenal. It's one of those experiences. And I specifically remember that 24 Nights and it, Running on Faith and all those songs that was, were on that, like the DVD. When I watched it, I was like watching it just in awe, going, wow. And it made me want to go buy the pewter strat, which, we've done shows on and stuff. And I know you wanted to try but I've got some, and the reason I've put Clapton in, because for me, Stevie Ray, Hendrix and Clapton, main strat plays for me.
Yeah. And look, I understand that. And I would have normally have done that, but what I thought I'd do is I'm just going to pick what I think's great Stratocaster sounds. Well, that's why I pick some honourable mentions, and we'll go through them too. We'll go through them at some point as well. Awesome. Is that you or me?
It's my phone in the other room. I thought I had it on silent, but someone's ringing. It's okay. It's okay.
All right. All right, okay, so my next one is I've picked Comfortably Numb by David Gilmour off Pink Floyd. And I had the solo for me is just brilliant. Off the recording. I remember when the album came out, 79, I think it was 79. I don't remember when it came out. I think it was a couple of years later or a year later when We Don't Need Your Education or something like that was released, and that became like a hit.
Yeah.
And do you know something? I say this to you all the time, and I'm sorry, but when I first heard that album, I didn't get it. I just knew the radio song. I didn't get that album. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s when I worked with a couple of guys who were Pink Floyd nuts. Yeah. And I mean Pink Floyd nuts. These guys were just crazy about it. And I loved the passion. And I think, bro, it was because of the passion that they had for Pink Floyd, because I kind of had Pink Floyd over here. I had this image of Pink Floyd, and I'm going to say it. I'm going to tell you guys here, some of the guys that I knew that liked Pink Floyd were druggies and weirdos, uneducatedly, I made a connection between them, but, It was a wrong connection. I think that's one of the pinnacle defining Stratocaster tones off Gilmour, and I didn't have a list of Gilmour songs to pick, which is interesting. I just picked that one.
Yeah,
I did. I didn't have like 20. Oh yeah, which Gilmour song? It was always going to be Comfortably Numb.
Look, I'm glad you picked that one, Andrew, because I'll agree with you to an extent where I never really got Pink Floyd, till I sort of hit my sort of, maybe 10 years ago, I started to understand Pink Floyd. It took me a long time to get into them. As a teenager, I loved my Zeppelin, Hendrix. I loved Doors. I loved Clapton. Yeah. I loved all that, but I just never understood Pink Floyd. And as the years went on, people would put a song on and I'd go, wow, man, that's insane. Like that guitar playing is insane. And but I'd listen to a Pink Floyd record and never really understand it. And then maybe about 10 years ago, I don't know, I got myself into a state, and I just went, I need to listen to something different. I'm sick of listening to the same stuff. It happens to us at times. And I tried to source something new, and there was nothing new that was blowing my hair back. So I went, I'm going to buy a Pink Floyd record, Dark Side of the Moon. And it changed my life. It made me love the music. It made me love everything else that I was listening to as well. Again, it reinvigorated my love for that style of music, like all that 60s, 70s music again that I felt so sick of, because I don't know if you understand. I always find it hard to embrace new music because it doesn't have the same depth to me. So to listen to Pink Floyd, that was it. I bought Dark Side of the Moon, and then I went crazy, Gilmour crazy. I went Gilmour crazy after that. And so for the last 10 or so years, maybe 10 or 12 years, I've just loved Pink Floyd, and I'm glad you picked that, because Comfortably Numb, wow, it's like a journey in a solo.
I've got a similar experience to you, because so when just hold on, bro, just hold on, give me a second here. Let me just when a Momentary Lapse of Reason came out in 1987, so that's when I was digging it. I was into music, and I had a friend called Terry Robin who was really into Pink Floyd, and he listened to that, had that, and I just didn't get onto it at all. But I loved the single off that, which was Learning to Fly. Great song. Yeah. Great song. But I was like you. About 10 years ago, I brought an American Stratocaster. It was an American special, had Texas pickups in it, and I bought this, and I thought, I want to listen to some new Stratocaster sounds, but something that I could, dip my feet in, because I kind of knew. So I did exactly what you did. I went and got Animals, Dark Side of the Moon on CD, Momentary Lapse of Reason. Oh gosh. I'm just hold on. The Wall, Wish You Were Here, and I went through a 6-month. I'm not going to swear. A 6-month Gilmour fanatic thing, just like similar to your experience.
Yeah.
So do you think that every decent musician, guitar player, rock and roller, they must have to do that? It must be. It must be destiny.
It must be. And I reckon every person I've spoken to that loves Pink Floyd, for the same kind of reason, got into them. Does that make sense? Like they went like full circle. They come back, and they've loved that era of music. But Pink Floyd were, they were out there. They had some ambient stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in Pink Floyd music. It's not something that's easy to palate, but if you're prepared to listen to it, and I listened to it with fresh ears. I was on a long trip, and one of my touring days, I was in the car. I put Dark Side of the Moon on, and man, I completely lost track of where I was going, what time of the day it was, how long the album went for. I had no idea. I was just on autopilot driving. Now, that's scary, but that's what it did to me. I deliberately bought, like I said, Pink Floyd for that reason, to just try and hear something fresh. I saved it for that trip. I thought I'll have it on in the car when I'm driving to that gig. And sure enough, I listened to it over and over and over all the way there, and then over and over and all the way back. And then when I got back, went straight to the record store and started buying anything that I could get my hands on Pink Floyd. And it changed. So for me, I went through this Gilmore fanatic phase. And so I totally understand it, is what I'm saying. Comfortably Numb is like a journey in a guitar solo. If you don't understand what we're talking about, go and listen to it. Shut your eyes, darken all the drapes, turn all the lights off, darken the drapes, and have a listen.
Woof, woof. Hey, Dog Pa. Look, I just want to add one little thing before we move on to our next song. It's fine, guys, to have an artist or a band challenge you, that there's something that you like about it, but you can't quite identify. Like, for example, we've done a lot of stuff on Led Zeppelin, and bang, everyone loves Led Zeppelin. Certainly my friends did. It was just a no-brainer. But a band like Led Zeppelin, you have to invest a bit of time. You have to take that music seriously. It's serious music in a sense that's very different from Led Zeppelin. Do you understand? Yeah. It's very different. And I think Brad's put it succinctly. If you invest the time, if you haven't really listened to Pink Floyd, take the time and enjoy that journey.
And you'll never regret it. You'll never regret it.
Awesome. What's on your list, brother? What's your next one?
Well, I had to put in one of my all-time favorite guitar players, and I would actually need to banish myself as a musician if I didn't put this guy in. Richie Blackmore, Deep Purple, Highway Star. I mean, need I say more? He was, to me, the dude on a Strat at the time when I was going through my Zeppelin phase. Deep Purple were not far behind, Black Sabbath, all that, but Richie Blackmore was exotic. His playing's exotic. And his Strat tone, to me, is probably the perfect Strat tone. That I have to say. To me, I spoke about Hendrix's tone and Stevie Ray's tone, but for me, the perfect Strat tone is the big headstock Strat, maple neck, and I think he used maple caps as well, maple cap fretboards, straight into a Marshall. It's cranked, and wow. What can I say, man? I sit and listen to Deep Purple, and I listen to his guitar playing. You know what I mean? I listen to his guitar playing. The simple things he would put in while the band's playing, just a one note, even like simplicity, played for the song. When he soloed, he was like, you had Page, you had, Jeff Beck, you had Clapton, you had all these dudes that were relevant at the time, but Richie was on another level. He was out there, man. He was doing not just straight blues. He was bluesy, but I mean, for me, I had to pick that over the top. I've got probably a list of 10 songs I wanted to pick from Richie Blackmore, but Highway Star, the solo in that is just iconic, and the tone is phenomenal. So Richie,
Well, you know me, bro. I like to be a smart ass. You know me. I like to be a smart ass, and I knew you'd pick Richie. I picked that. I knew you'd pick Richie. If you guys haven't already seen it, we did a show on Machine Head. Was it Machine Head?
Yeah.
And Brad outlays everything about Richie Blackmore on that show. So check that out. And I was hopeful and kind of sure that he was going to pick Richie. Really interested about you calling it a defining Stratocaster tone for you. That's really interesting. If you said that on that show, bro, I didn't pick up on it, but very interesting comment.
I love his tone on on the Fireball record. There's a song called No No No. That neck tone that he gets for me is the Strat tone. It's the tone. But like the Burn solo was nearly going to top Highway Star for me on Burn. That solo is phenomenal. His feel, Stormbringer, his solo in that, man, geez. I mean, I get goosebumps talking about it. So I encourage everyone to go and listen to what Richie Blackmore plays. And that song, Blind Man, go and listen to that. He's playing Mistreated. Man, he made that bridge pickup sound better than anyone else I've ever heard on a Strat. That's hands down. His bridge pickup tone on that Strat was better than anyone else I've ever heard on a bridge pickup. His neck pickup tone, phenomenal. I think it has a lot to do with these, though.
Yeah. Oh, look, I think you're right, because he's pretty much like Hendrix, isn't he? He's just a guy that plugs it in and plays. He doesn't have huge racks or anything like that. It's just pretty much.
Well, that era, Andrew, was like plug and play for them. That era was plug and play, and I still to this day I can't really think of a better Strat tone in my head. Anyway, when I plug my Strat in to a Marshall, that's what I want to hear. That and that sort of Hendrix Voodoo Child tone. And I don't want to sort of give away my honourable mentions, but there's one other Hendrix thing that I think is very close to being the best Strat tone. But for me, honestly, Richie, when you're watching this back, we love you. Release some more music, please.
So have you guys caught the fire? Brad's on fire for Richie, and well deserved. So I again, guys, I want you please go back and have a look. It's about maybe 6 months ago. I'll attach a card to this show for that show for anybody that's watching the replay that wants to check that out, because Simon and I were in for a treat on that show. We just kind of sat back, and Brad led the show and schooled us on all things Richie Blackmore. I learned a lot from that show. I'm going to counterbalance what you've just said with interesting and defining Strat tones with my next pick. And again, we've done a show on this cat too. Robin Trow, we did a show, Bridge of Sighs. So I've picked Two Rolling Stone, not from that album, even though that version's pretty good, but off the Live Off Sweden album. And that was the first album that I had, bro, on Robin Trow. And I think we discussed that on that show too. So I was listening to that before I heard Bridge of Sighs. And what's really interesting about live albums is they give you this dynamic, this roughness, this edge, that obviously a studio version doesn't have. And sometimes people love it and sometimes people don't, or sometimes people can just handle both of them. But the live version for me just has this beautiful, the way that he syncopates, the way that he's got that wah. And you know how you said earlier at the top of the show about Stevie Ray Vaughan, versus Jimi Hendrix, and if anyone knows anything about Robin Trow, the White Hendrix, and that's a good label, you know, but he's not Hendrix, but you can hear Hendrix, but he's just doing something just a little bit different. But I think for me that's defining Stratocaster tone too. You know, the way that he's got that wah. He doesn't have the wah aggressive. Maybe it's because of the way it's recorded. I don't know. But Robin Trow, 70, like Richie Blackmore, still alive, still doing it. Jeepers.
Look, I have to agree with you, actually. You know, I'm not stepping away from what I've said. I'm pretty stand strong on what I'm saying. But Robin Trow was in my list as well. Bridges of Sigh. I mean, there's some beautiful playing, and I mean, you know what I'm like with univibe tones, Andrew, and the Strat with a univibe to me is just as important as a Strat with a wah pedal. So, you know, Trow was, in my opinion, you know, he still is to this day, such an amazing player. You know what I mean? I totally agree with you. His guitar tone was phenomenal, really. And when you listen to Bridges of Sigh, it's crazy good. It's like a little journey. You can listen to it, sit back. You don't have to do anything. Maybe pour yourself a nice glass of red wine and sip it and just have a listen. You know, it's great.
Yeah, what I love about this period, you know, guitar was king back then. You know, and for us today, for this show, it still is. You know, you talk to young cats now, and they'll tell you turntables are king. You know, or mics are king. You know, or the booty is the king. You know, now you can get on a video and just shake your booty, and all of a sudden now you've made $20 million. You know.
TikTok crazy.
Yeah,
Generation. You know, the TikTok generation, they dance to a 15-second thing and they're instantly famous. You know? Shake your booty and you're famous. You know.
Yeah. Seriously though, you know, one of the great things though that we like about the show is talking about, you know, the premium place that the guitar is and should hold in rock and roll history, and these cats that we're talking about, kings and princes of that whole movement, aren't they?
Yeah, and they led the way and paved the way for a lot of fantastic players too. And you know, a lot of players that are relevant today. We have these people that we've discussed, like Robin Trow, Richie Blackmore, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton. We have all these guys to thank for it. You know, and it's wonderful that we can still listen to stuff that was recorded 30, 40 years ago, even 20 years ago, and just be still blown away by it. You know, I listened to, I had this discussion with one of my good friends not long ago about Axis Bold's Love record, and I still hear new things in that every time I listen to it. I'm like, wow, why haven't I heard that in the last 30 years, you know, or 20 years or whatever it may be that I've been listening to it. Like, why haven't I heard that bit, you know? Why have I been missing that one note in Spanish Castle Magic that I thought wasn't there, you know, in the riff, those sort of things. So, yeah. But Robin Trow, more music.
Yeah, yes, Crappy, I'm a Kiwi, proud patriotic New Zealander, and if you guys haven't worked out, Brad is a proud patriotic Australian. He's an Aussie and a
mate.
Kiwi.
Aussie, mate. I won't say the common saying that Aussies always go.
No.
It's a family show.
What's the next one, brother? What's the next one?
All right, so that segues into probably more recent times. I mean, we mentioned, and I just mentioned that all those players that we've discussed have led us to players that are relevant today. And I wouldn't be doing any justice if I wouldn't bring up someone that's been a massive influence to myself. And over the last couple of years, I really have delved into this one guitar player. He's mind-blowing. I think everyone needs to get involved and have a really good listen to Philip Sayce. He's just phenomenal. And, if you love your Stevie Ray, you love Hendrix, you love, Clapton, you love George Harrison, you love all those sort of things, then he's your dude. You've got to get involved. And I had a list maybe of like 20 Philip Say songs I wanted to bring up, but I kept going back to one particular song, and I had to pick Alchemy off his record, that to me is probably one of his finest records, and I love his new album as well, which is called Spirit Rising and everything like that. But Alchemy, there's a couple of versions of it. There was one on a live record he did, and it was called Scorched Earth. That was phenomenal. So I think everyone should get involved in that. Go check it out on Spotify. Scorched Earth, Volume 1, Alchemy. You've got to have a listen to that. But that's Peace Machine. His version on Peace Machine was the one that I was referring to as being perfection. Guitar tone-wise, his strat tones on that were phenomenal, and even on Spirit Rising, his latest album, his guitar tones are phenomenal. He's got some beautiful guitars, and he's one hell of a nice guy. He's one hell of a nice guy. So that makes it even better when you listen to his music. He plays everything from his heart and soul, and he's putting himself into the music. So such a phenomenal player, massive inspiration to me. If it wasn't for Philip Say's Spirit Rising record, I might not have released Time to Fly, because that was the last little thing to push me over the edge to do my own solo thing. Because I was thinking about it for years, and hearing that, it's just like, no, you've got to do this. So thank you, Philip. And, when you're watching this back on the replay, we love you, Philip, and we want to get you on the show.
Awesome. I'm just going to do a quick shout out, bro. We've got Tim Thomas in the chat. We've got Johnny Bean, Daddy Bean. Good to see you, Johnny. Thank you for jumping in. It's always a pleasure to see you. Who else have I missed? If I've missed anybody else out that's jumped on, please forgive us. I'm glad that Brad's mentioned Philip Sayce, and I'm just going to add a little bit to what Brad said. I discovered Brad when I first got my Yamaha THR amp probably about 6-7 years ago, and one of the reasons why I bought that amp, I like a lot of cats, you jump on YouTube and you get some product videos, and there's people there talking about it, and there's one there by Philip. There's a couple of videos there by Philip, one where he's putting through some overdrives through the Yamaha amp, and there's one where he's playing the amp on a chair in a foyer of a radio station, and he's playing I forget the number, and you think that there's a wall of Marshalls behind him. And this is a great example of what Brad said earlier, about tone being in the fingers, so you can have a stack of Marshalls, or you can have this beautiful little Yamaha THR amp and still sound phenomenally great. So I went out and got the amp because of Philip Sayce, and then obviously went and listened to Philip and just got blown away. Like Brad said, this guy is contemporary. He's a Canadian. He's played with a lot of cool artists. Check him out. That's Spirit Rising, and that's how Brad and I hooked up too, because I think it must have been on some kind of connection that social media does, and then I saw you talking with Matt talking about your album, and I must have been hashtagged or something like that. So Philip, we've got one of the best co-hosts ever on YouTube talking rock and roll music, and his name is Brad, also because of Philip Sayce. So we need to check him out. I promise when we finish the show, we'll put some links to those Philip Sayce videos that Brad's talking about, and we'll also put a link to Brad's EP. We don't push Brad's EP enough on the show, so we need to do that. Worth checking out.
No, I agree with everything you said. I've seen those videos of him playing that Yamaha amp. I've seen pretty much, I think I've looked at every video that's up on YouTube of Philip Sayce now, especially during lockdowns. I'd sit there and I'd watch it over and over and over. So if you haven't discovered Philip Sace already, make sure you jump onto Spotify, onto YouTube, check him out. If you love, like I said, if you love Clapton, if you love Stevie Ray, you love Hendrix, enough said. Just go and check it out. He's an amazing player. He's got some beautiful old Fenders, and his tone on every record just drips, goodness. I mean, he doesn't just use strats. He uses I think he's got like a Les Paul Jr. and he uses other guitars, but the majority of his sound is the strat with a fuzz. Loves wires. He's got all vintage gear. Phenomenal player. What can I say? Philip, we love you, mate. We want to get you on here too.
Awesome. If you guys hang around towards the end of the show, there's a video I'm gonna play. I'm gonna play you guys. So hang around if you haven't seen it. It's worth checking out. I've got 2 more songs to go. So my second to last song that I'd like to talk about is pretty interesting because the guy's known for playing Gibsons, and for the longest of times actually, but the song specifically, the solo specifically, is clearly a Stratocaster. It's the last thing he did with this band before he walked out, and the song that I've picked is Time Waits for No One by Mick Taylor, and it's on It's Only Rock and Roll, the last album that he did with the Rolling Stones. The chords, the guitar playing, the solo, it's just about perfect for me. I adore Mick Taylor. I think what he gave to the Rolling Stones, bro, was something that helped propel them, certainly. And I know that we did Beggars Banquet last week, and we've done a couple of other Stones albums, but certainly his input into that band as a guitar player gave them, I think, credibility that they needed, because he certainly is a gifted musician, gifted guitar player. Bad move. Was it a bad move, him leaving, walking out from the Stones? Well, we can do a show on that because there's a couple of reasons why. But again, it's a goosebumps solo for me. I just love it. I adore it, bro.
Yeah. Look, I'm glad you picked that one, actually, and I look forward to doing that record when we finally get around to it, because I know it's been mentioned a few times in the green room and whatnot, and I've got a sort of a little inkling that might be your next pick, maybe. We'll soon find out, but yeah.
I think Simon wants to pick it.
Yeah, well, I think Simon wanted to pick it first, but he's picked some crackers lately, so it's great. And but yeah, I love the Mick Taylor era of the Stones, and I know the song, I know the tone, I know everything you're talking about there, and yeah, it's wonderful. And what a player too! Such amazing feel. Great player. And I think we should do a show on Mick Taylor leaving the Stones. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, and I'm sure you can lead us through that wonderful one.
Oh, well, just quickly, I think if people don't know, because a lot of people think, and I did for a long time, thought that he left because he wasn't getting recognition as a songwriter, and some of his contributions to the Stones, which I can't remember off the top of my head, he never got recognition for or songwriting credits for. So he split, decided, okay, I'm out of here. But if you guys haven't checked out the 50th anniversary DVD Crossfire Hurricane, it kind of blew Stones nuts away, because he reveals for the first time that he had to leave because he had developed a heroin habit, which no one, for years knew about. So it was either his family and his health, or stay in the Stones and die.
So he probably did himself a favor.
Yes, he did, brother. Yes, he did. What's your next one, bro?
Well, I picked, and I'm glad you picked a Pink Floyd song because I picked Pink Floyd's "Time" off Dark Side of the Moon. That solo to me it encompasses everything about Dave Gilmour for me as a player, and the tone of it was phenomenal. I mean, he's channeling Hendrix in that. I think I can hear fuzz. He's playing that black strat, his famous black strat. Such an amazing song, but the solo, he takes it on a journey. It's how could you not like Time? That to me, if you don't like his playing on Time, then you need to sell all your Fender Stratocasters if you've got them in your stack. So that to me just we talk about such amazing songs. Philip Sayce, we've got Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. It needs to be brought up how important Dave Gilmour was to the Stratocaster, and that song in particular, "Comfortably Numb" was up there for me, but that was mine. Time. I just kept going back to that one particular song. Phenomenal.
Yeah. Just hold on for a second, bro. I'm going to listen to that. Just hold on. I'm gonna
don't flag it.
Because... No. I'm just gonna play. Just hold on.
Yeah.
I just want to check because I'm just time. Here we go. Here, I just want to get that in my ear.
Yep.
Before, sorry, hold on.
That's all right. It's
Yeah. I know the song. Yes. Great pick. Great pick.
Pardon the punt, but it's timeless.
Well done. Oh look. Have we done this album?
We did some rundown stuff with Michael.
Yeah. Shivers. Michael's gonna kill me. He's gonna kill me. Oh.
Yeah. So he went through stuff on that, but I'm happy to revisit it anytime.
Yeah. Go and check that out too, guys. We did a couple of shows with Michael also, who's a very good friend of the channel. We need to get Michael on for some Clapton specials. He's our expert Clapton nut too that comes on and co-hosts with us. So look, I'm glad you picked Gilmour because Stratocaster tones, Gilmour and Hendrix. Yeah.
I mean, you can't go past Gilmour. I mean, like I said, Dark Side of the Moon was my, introduction to the Gilmour phase I went through, and I'm still in a Gilmour phase, but I just sometimes I recognize that I can't play like particular players, and there's no point trying. I just, I give up trying. I went down the path to try and play like Gilmour, and the space, the feel, the way he played, it's very hard to replicate. And sometimes you just got to leave it alone and enjoy it. And that's for me. Yeah. Crappy Luxury just put his shine on in Crazy Dom. Yeah, that's great too. That was on my list as well. But the solo in that is phenomenal. But what can I say? Gilmour, he was without even trying, he was a guitar hero. Let's just put it that way. He was just playing, mate. He was just playing.
Yeah. Deja Voodoo knows the rock Professor Simon story about the rooftop with Dark Side of the Moon. Isn't it interesting how some stories with some channels just become like, chalk and not chalk and cheese, the cheese and the sandwich, and that's one of them.
I just saw Johnny Heartbreaker put you'd both be in timeout if you guys hadn't picked a Gilmour song.
Oh. Well, I'm glad we're bringing some credibility to the show. But just remember, guys, we're just like you, everyone here in the chat. We're just fans hanging out, just talking about, stuff that we love talking about, which is guitar-based rock and roll music. But I think that album, Dark Side of the Moon, is perfect. It's a perfect album. It's we need to renegotiate that and do something else with Michael on that album.
I've got, what was your last one? What was your last one?
Just hold on, bro. Hold on, bro. Just give me a second. Okay, so my fifth, and I've got a couple of honorable mentions. So my fifth one, it might be a surprise. But Yellow Ledbetter. By Mike McCready. Now that song, not the live versions. There's lots of live versions. It's the single version. It's the B-side, which came out on Jeremy about 92, 93. And I was working with a couple of guys too. I knew a couple of guys who were Pearl Jam nuts, and they got me onto Pearl Jam 10 and Vitology when it came out.
Yep.
And I heard that Yellow Ledbetter, and it's in the out of phase position on a Strat. He's playing a 56 or a 57 Stratocaster.
Yep.
And it's just his version of him, his tribute of him playing Hendrix, but it's not Hendrix. It's one of them. It's just, yeah. I just love it. And then the solo is an overdriven solo, so he kicks some pedals in. So you're getting two different Stratocaster tones. You're getting the classic tone that we all love, and then you get the overdriven tone. My favorite Pearl Jam song.
It's probably mine too. I love Pearl Jam, and I keep rediscovering Pearl Jam in my playlists and things like that. And I have to say, that's one of the best ones that they've ever done. Tone wise, it's very Hendrix. It's very Hendrix, and I love it too. I'm glad you picked that. Actually, because that's a grunge era. Everyone gives grunge a hard time, But to me, I listen to, as much as I love my blues and rock and everything, still some of my biggest influences are Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, Stone Temple Pilots, just amazing music, amazing songwriting. And weren't we lucky to live through that, really, when you think about it? We were lucky to live through that movement, that community of musicians that were all supportive and all from Seattle. And it was kind of like what we're sort of lacking in the world at the moment is some sort of movement, like a music movement, a community that just goes, boom, this is what we're doing. And they all supported each other. It was a crossover that was incestual. They all played in bands together and they all supported each other. And so, it was an amazing time. And, that was my era of learning to play guitar. And my first song on guitar to learn was Smells Like Teen Spirit. That's that era is so important. And what an amazing time to be alive, really. The 90s grunge movement was amazing. I think we need to give it more credit, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Well, there's a couple of things there, bro. I refuse to call it grunge, and I refuse to call it alternative, because it's just nothing but record executive dickheads inventing a record, a category for them to market something because they didn't want to call it rock and roll or rock music, which is basically what it is. Pearl Jam, it's a rock and roll, it's a rock band, Then you had, Chris Cornell, and Siamese Dream by the Smashing Pumpkins. Just a great, and you got James Iha playing. Brad's right. Just a great great time. I think it gets a lot of hate from older rock and rollers, not because of the music, but I think it was just because of the way it was marketed. It was marketed in opposition to the music that we talk about. Does that make sense?
No, you're right. They tried to sort of go, and it's not rock, it's an alternative movement like punk, but to me it was rock. That's it. You know, there was
Got the rock professor here.
Hey, Simon, how are you? I didn't know you were here. How are you?
I don't know when. What did you say? What did you say about Simon at the top of the show, and then
you'll have to go back
and
You'll have to go back and watch it. No, I'm glad you picked that.
I'm not going to tell Simon what you said.
No, you have to edit it out.
Sorry for interrupting, bro. Sorry, I was interrupting you. You're on a thought there.
I'm really glad you picked that one. That was great. I listened to it the other day. Actually, I had it on the other day, listening to Pearl Jam, and that song came on. I was like, wow, I'm going to learn that one day, or attempt to.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm.
Do you have a favorite? And we'll use the word grunge band from that era. Do you want to tell us what it is?
Wow. That's a tough one because for different reasons. Can I pick two?
Oh, why not?
All right, I'll pick two. So I love them all. I love Pearl Jam. I love Nirvana. I love, the whole era for me was exciting because I loved everything that was being released. I loved it all. But to me, Stone Temple Pilots, because I envision them like Beatles of the 90s. I may offend some people here, but they were songwriters. They wrote amazing songs. They wrote stuff that was catchy. Everything had melody. Everything had great harmonies. So to me, Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden, because I was just blown away by Soundgarden, that everything they did musically. But Chris Cornell's voice was one of those things that captivated me. It just took me, and I was like, wow. I came from listening to bands like Led Zeppelin, and Robert Plant to me was always the rock voice, that blues rock. He always had that, Ian Gillan, David Coverdale, Robert Plant. And then for me, the 90s, we had Chris Cornell, who was in the same league, if not. But musically, Stone Temple Pilots and Alice in Chains, and I've picked three, Alice in Chains and Soundgarden. They were the bands that really did it for me. But I'm not dissing Pearl Jam or Nirvana. Nirvana were the first things I learned on guitar, so they're still close to my heart. I still listen to Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden every week. Yeah.
Yeah, I look, I agree with you. I remember when people came out, Meat Plow, Vaseline, Interstate Love Song, Big Empty, just wept when Scott passed away.
Yeah.
Loved what he did with Velvet Revolver. Velvet Revolver. Again. So I rest my case, bro, about grunge or alternative, because who were these Velvet Revolver dudes? They were supposed to be grunge alternative guys. So go and listen to Velvet Revolver and go, oh no, this is rock music.
Just rock, man.
Yeah.
But Johnny Heartbreaker just mentioned something, and I put it in one of my Instagram stories. Chris Cornell would have been 57 today, or yesterday here in Australia. Yeah, would have been 57 if he was still alive. So he died way too young. But sad that how that happened. But that's maybe we can do a show on this stuff instead of on a Strat special.
Yeah, well, the midweek show's open just to, nothing really scripted. I want to do a quick shout out, bro. We've got John ZD351 in the chat, who's been hanging out with us on a few shows, brother. Good to see you. We have all the way from somewhere, I don't know where, but Quentin James. I don't know. The SWAT team apparently likes congregating around Quentin Jones's apartment for some reason. He's going to blame his neighbours, but we all know really it's not the neighbours. Okay, back to business, back to work. Go. Okay.
I've got some honourable mentions. I've got some honourable mentions.
Well, no. Give me an honourable mention. my honourable mention is, I remember it was a birthday party, and I was a young guy, and I remember a couple of my uncles were a little bit drunk, and they were listening to this song, and it was Dire Straits. See, we're not scripted here. What's their first come on, what's their famous song? Number one? Their number one? Sultans of Swing. Yes.
That's no joking. That's on my list here.
Okay. More credibility to the Stratocaster show. That was a tough one to miss out. But I went with my heart, bro. But I knew that you break the rules and you'd give us a couple of honourable mentions. So I thought, I'd slip that in through the back door. So again, classic Stratocaster tone, isn't it? The studio version or even the live versions. It's just bloody good.
Oh man, I'm really glad you brought that up, because I put Dire Straits, and I put a number of Dire Straits songs, but the one that really, really is undeniable is Sultans of Swing. It's you listen to that, I have some really fond memories of that. That song in particular, and I vaguely remember hearing it from a very young kid. All the way through. Even now, I listen to Dire Straits every now and again. I have, a very soft spot for Brothers in Arms album as well. And, one of my best mates that's not with us anymore, him and his brother used to play that Dire Straits all the time. And I listen to that. And even though it's not a Stratocaster tone, the song Brothers in Arms, that makes me almost cry, because I think of that. But Dire Straits for me was on my list here, and Sultans of Swing, I nearly bumped one of my 5 for it, but I had to go with my gut instinct with what I did. But yeah, Mark Knopfler and that style, and I've seen lots of people cover it and play it, but they never get it right. It's so difficult to play the way Mark Knopfler does. And that tone he gets then in is it the 2 position and the 4 position on the Strat? Amazing. He was the king of that stuff for me. Yeah.
Australia's famous for a couple of things, guys, for bands. ABBA were really huge in Australia. ABBA were really, really huge. Neil Diamond was really, really huge in Australia, and so was Dire Straits. I think you guys just about bought every copy of Brother in Arms. I think you guys broke the record. It was number 1 in Aussie for 5 years, that album?
Yep. I mean, look, there's a lot of things with Dire Straits that were a bit cheesy for me, but then there was the depth to the more. It's like they wrote particular songs for MTV, and then they wrote songs that they wanted to put on albums. That was how I saw Dire Straits. But all those bands in that era were guilty of that too, Andrew. Even Clapton was guilty of that. So
My favorite album is Making Movies. I just love that album.
yeah,
Brother in His Arms. Look, no disrespect to Brothers in Arms, you know.
Hmm.
But Mark Knopfler is an interesting guy. I watched a documentary on him a couple of years ago. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's really, really interesting. This guy, again, he was playing British Electric Blues.
Yeah.
You know, when he first started getting, it was around with all those guys. So, what's your next honourable mention, brother?
Well, I had to go back to Hendrix and Machine Gun off Band of Gypsies.
Oh,
That was nearly going to top up there, so I had to give that one. Machine Gun, Voodoo Child, like you said. I had to give, like Steve Ray Vaughan, I said Lenny, that was going to get there. Texas Flood off El Macombo, that was going to be on there. Comfortably Numb, Sultans of Swing. But I do want to mention some modern day guys. I mean, we're going down the path of a lot of, like I mentioned, Philip Sayce, it's someone a little bit more relevant today still. But John Mayer's Continuum album, Belief, off that, that was when I heard Continuum, I heard guitar tones that I want to try and get. I could hear what I wanted guitar-wise. I wanted to hear, and I have to give him credit. It was released in 2007, but I still listen to that album almost weekly. My son listens to probably 4 or 5 songs on that album every time I get in the car. It's
great tone.
And the tone on that record is phenomenal. I mean, I loved his trio stuff that he did as well. But on this particular record, they captured a great tone. I'm just looking at the song titles. I Don't Trust Myself with Loving You, Belief, Gravity, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room. I mean, that's become a bit of a Stairway to Heaven thing in guitar shops now. You can't play it. It's amazing. But that guitar tone in particular was an honourable mention for me. I'm sure you probably have got something to say about John Mayer as well yourself, yeah?
Yeah, I've got the John Mayer Trio DVD somewhere. So, look, I'm going to be honest with you. John Mayer deserves the respect from guitar players, and that's what we are here. Even Clapton said it. Clapton has come out and said that John Mayer is a master. And, has he done some pop songs? Of course he has. But why did he need to do the pop songs? Because to get credibility and make some money, you've got to do some pop songs. But Brad's right. Go and listen to Continuum. It's a great album. It's don't listen to whatever you do. The album that came out after that, his version of Crossroads. Do yourself a favor and don't listen to his version of Crossroads. But
I agree.
But Continue when he was playing, strats, to die for.
And that to me was an honourable mention. That fantastic tone on that record. I think whatever gear he's using on there, I think he was using, he's got some pretty old strats. I think he got a black one as well was his main one. I know he's using PRS now, but at that particular time, he was predominantly Fender. Amazing tones on that record. I had to mention Jeff Beck. We've kind of skipped over Jeff Beck in this, and he needs an honourable mention. Live at Ronnie Scott's, for me, that I've watched that maybe 2 billion times. And I still shake my head when I'm watching it. It's amazing. His guitar tone is phenomenal. Go and listen to A Day in the Life of that, or Stratus, or Lead Boots off that, or I'm just trying to think of the other songs that are on it. I mean, even the opening track, Beck's Bolero, it's that all of them. Go and listen to that. That's an amazing. That needs honourable mention. Anything Jeff Beck where he's using a Strat is phenomenal. In his Les Paul tones, of course, but yeah, he was phenomenal tone.
Awesome. My last honourable mention is
Oh yeah.
Albatross by Fleetwood Mac, played on a Stratocaster. Just one of the great instrumentals, a defining period in Fleetwood Mac's history, and certainly a song that gave other versions of Fleetwood Mac something to stand on. A number one, broke so many rules, an instrumental number one in 1970. I remember when I was listening to the disco version of Fleetwood Mac, brother, and I was watching this music program, and back in the olden days, they would show videos of olden day videos. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
and I remember they said, "Oh, we're going to play this video of Fleetwood Mac," and I remember sitting there going, "There's no one in. Where's Stevie Nicks?" Yeah. I couldn't make the connection, and it wasn't until I had to be schooled into just different band, different versions, blah blah blah. But love that Stratocaster tone. Yeah.
That's amazing. I'm glad you picked that because I thought about that, but then everyone associates him with Greenie. And it's the same with Billy Gibbons. I picked Billy Gibbons for the Les Paul stuff, if that made sense, not necessarily more the Strat orientated vibe, because he plays a Strat too. But that Peter Green with the Strat was a beautiful, delicate, like lush tone for me. It's beautiful. And the way he plays that Albatross on the Strat just sounds amazing. Simon,
we purposely. Oh, yeah. Sorry, mate.
No. I was just going to say, Simon, we purposely didn't pick Rory Gallagher because we made mention and a small hint that was something that you may have chose for our next album choice. We didn't mention the album, but we said that there's a possibility that Simon's going to go Rory Gallagher. So we may have spilt the beans a little bit, but anyway.
Yeah, we didn't want to rain on the parade.
That's right. So we've purposely left it off. If it's okay, Andrew, I want to mention one more person on the Strat thing. I could go on for days, really. But there's one more person that he's a close friend of mine, and I wouldn't be doing any justice to the world of music if I didn't mention him. Dave Leslie from Baby Animals, very close friend, and he's a Strat player. I mean, he plays lots of guitars. He's got Grabieses this today. He's even got a Les Paul. He's got guitars, and he's got the EVH. He's got the EVH Music Man. But
we know who he got that from too.
Yes, we do. But I want to highlight Dave as a player, and his Strat tones were phenomenal. And when Baby Animals' first album came out, it took me by surprise. Obviously, hearing I think it was Rush You was the first song. Early Warning and Rush You were the first two songs I heard them on MTV, and for me it was like, wow, man, this band's phenomenal. They sound like Zeppelin now with a chick singer. I'm sure everyone's familiar with Baby Animals. If you're not, check them out. But Dave, man, I mean, there's something about his Strat tone when he hits that net pickup. There's a song I really want everyone to go and listen to, and it's Break My Heart off their first record. His guitar playing on it. It's like this lush tone going on, and there's Strat, and I'm sure it's a Strat because I can hear the bar going, the bar work, and phenomenal. Go and do yourselves a favor and check out Baby Animals. Dave Leslie, we love you, brother, and needs an honorable mention. And I just saw someone mention Diesel as well. Yeah, Crying Shame, Strat time.
Right on the tip of my tongue. I remember that was a huge album here in 1990, 91. Right on the tip of my tongue. And that song that he did with Something Is Wrong with My Baby.
Yeah.
Ow! With John Farnham.
Fonzie and Barnsey, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys are pretty good over there, man. You guys have got some, yeah. So yeah,
We
we've
do
got
all right.
Brad, we've got baby animals, and we've got
We've got a little bit. We've got a little bit of talent here, just a little bit.
oh, what are we doing? What are we doing on Sunday, bro? Because we don't have the Rock Professor here. He's ditching us.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone ditches us, so that's okay. He's
Mm-hmm.
ditching us for a week. He's going to do something. So we might be doing a special with someone that Brad knows. If we're not going to do a special with someone that Brad knows, we're going to talk about Australian and New Zealand bands. Is that correct?
Yeah, we might as well. That's what I was going to say. It might segue to us for Sunday, talking about the Aussie stuff and the New Zealand stuff and the bands, and we might just have a bit of a loose chat about it. We won't plan too much. We'll have an idea of what we're going to discuss, and we'll go from there. And we'll get you guys to be interactive in the chat as well.
Yeah, unfortunately, we can't show any videos. I thought maybe we could get away with doing that, but last week when we showed that video of dancing in the streets, we got blocked. They blocked us for that. Well, I had to edit that out. Simon knows that, doesn't he? Yeah. Well, we had a chat about that. We had to edit that out. So, yeah, we're gonna show you guys some pics of our strats, and we're gonna talk about them if that's cool. So, if you guys just give me a second here, I'm gonna throw some pics up. Where are they? Here we go. Right, here we go.
Brad Cook is in the chat now, and I posted a story earlier today and asked people if you want to ask a question, you can put it in here. Brad didn't have a question. It was more of a suggestion. He said you need to collaborate with somebody from Australia.
Okay. Yes, please. And I mean, how much do we love Brad? Brad is the coolest. He's such a nice guy and such a great player. And again, that's the energy I'm talking about, like that kind of thing where I feel the love for the music first and foremost, when I hear his music. So, and I would love to come to Australia, just always looking for real people to work with.
Right.
So if you guys in the chat didn't know this, you're participating in a famous show here. We got connections going on here. We got Eric Clacton in the chat. This guy's we got the Rock Professor in the chat. And we got Philip Sace.
Yeah, what a guy. His music, I encourage everyone to go check out Spirit Rising. And, he's sort of hinted that he's going to be recording some new music soon. So looking forward to that. It's going to be amazing.
All right, here we go. Back to what we're getting paid to do. Back to paid. Paid. Hold on.
All right, so this is my guitar. This is a Fender Strat, obviously. It's a Mexican Strat, and it's the Hendrix model. So if you look at the bridge pickup, it's reversed. And there's a bit of a reason they've done that. So obviously Hendrix used to play a right-handed guitar and he'd string it upside down. So his pickup configuration would be like that if you were to hold the guitar the same way he did. But what I'm trying to get at is the pickups are laid out. So if you look at this picture, the guitar on the left is the standard way a guitar pickup configuration is on a Strat. So if you play that upside down, the bridge pickup, the treble side, which is the thinner strings of the pickup, is closer to the middle of the guitar. And then it goes to the bridge. And realistically, it makes more sense to me that that's how a pickup should be. But the trick with the Hendrix Strat is the actual pickups are magnetized, they're reverse magnet as well. So you get that polarity difference with the pickup. So it gives you a slightly different tone. It's not massively noticeable to me. On the bridge pickup, it kind of is. The neck pickup, look, you can really pull those castles made of sand and Axis Bowlers Love tones from that. It's really cool. But yeah, that's it's a bit hard to describe, but that if you understand what I'm saying, am I describing that properly, Andrew? I think you might even describe it better.
I think, let's have a look in the chat. I think everybody looks strange, but seems more logically, tonally. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that what I'm saying is the bridge pickup, if you've got the treble, the magnet closer to the bridge on the bass side, it cuts through a little bit more, makes those bass notes a little bit sharper, and it's a bit softer on the treble sides, which is the thinner strings, like we see your lighter gauge strings. It just warms them up a bit. So it's got the reverse headstock, which I find makes a little difference. Obviously, with your high-end strings, you're playing the tensions different on the E and the B and the G strings. Obviously, on the tight, it makes it a little bit tighter on the top end as well. So it kind of works really, really well. I really like the way the reverse headstock makes the guitar feel when I'm playing it. It's not a massive difference, but for me, I feel it. You can feel that. So this is my prized Strat. This is the best Strat that I've got, and the one of the best Strats I've ever played. It's a 79 Fender Stratocaster. I was stumbled across this guitar. It was just lucky. It's got a maple neck. It's got one of the best maple necks I've ever played on a Strat. It's just a freak guitar. I've done some mods to it. I've had it refinished. It was all black, and I had it done in Mary Kay white, which obviously over the years it's gone yellowy. It's transparent, so you can see the timber under it. It's that whole thing of making a guitar work for you. That's the bigger headstock on the Fender, which I kind of like. I like the Strats with the bigger headstock. I like the tone I get from them. I feel it gives you a little bit of a tone difference. But
I think I've voted this twice, bro. Sorry, that's
your,
right.
That's the Hendrix one. That's the Hendrix one. That's the pickups there. You can see I've got the because of the way the pickups sound. So if you look at that picture, just keep it on there. Where the thinner strings are, guys, is normally the magnet that would be over the thicker string. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So the pickups are reversed. So I've tilted them up a little bit, and this is all by ear. There's no measuring tools. I don't really buy into that. I kind of adjust things to ear through an amp and how it responds to me. So the treble side, I lifted the pickup a tiny bit just to get more resonance out of it, which it just works really well. But that's a really good sort of picture to show you and highlight the pickup configuration. And that's the 79 one. So those pickups, obviously, I've adjusted them very similar in a sense, but the bridge one's kind of more, and I change these around, guys. So like this photo might, if I was to take the same photo in a couple of months, the pickup height might be slightly different because I adjust it to how I'm feeling.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty much, the standard pickup configuration is the bridge pickup goes, the bass side is closer to the middle.
Awesome.
On the pickup,
awesome.
Yeah, on the bridge.
All right, guys, I've got a couple of pics here that I'm going to quickly show through. So this is a picture here of my Brownie tribute, which is a 2020 player series with a neck off my 1990 Stratocaster. So give me a second, guys. Where is it? There it is there. So Brad and I will show our guitars live on camera, but you can see here what I've done is I've aged the, what do you call this here? The bridge. I've aged the bridge. And a couple of days ago, I just took a Scotch-Brite pad and just took it over the body just to dull it a little bit, just to give it just a little bit of a aged look, because I'm trying to get that what is it, the brownie vibe. And this is my favorite Stratocaster. This is a 2011 classic vibe Stratocaster. I've changed the pickups, I've changed the scratch plate, and I've relicked it a little bit. And I have to tell you, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a very, very good guitar. Look, Stratocasters and Gibsons have their place and they have a role, and Brad will attest to that. Certainly the difference with a Gibson and a Fender Strat in a live situation just cuts through the mix a little bit more. But if you're just a guy that wants to play and jam with some friends, you don't have to spend $2.5 grand. You can go and spend under $1,000 and get a very, very good guitar. Yep. And I've just taken a couple of photos there. That's my Fender head. That's on my Brownie Tribute, and this here is my Squire Classic Vibe. And again, I've just dulled that because it's quite shiny, and I've grabbed a cigarette lighter and just burned that up because I don't smoke anymore. Can't get the cigarettes in there. But just get that off there. So Brad and I had a chat a couple of days ago. So for me, it's the Stratocaster, and Brad's going to tell you what it is for him. Be no surprises if you're regulars to the channel, but he's going to back it up. But with the Stratocaster and a Gibson, we'll both agree you've got 95% of your bases covered. What do you reckon?
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I mean, look, the beautiful thing about Strats are you can do more modifications to them to make them even more personal and it's very easy to do it with a Strat as opposed to a Les Paul, for example. The Les Pauls, you're pretty much stuck to a wiring thing or a push-pull thing or whatever, or changing a few things here and there. But beautiful thing about Strats is you can swap out necks, swap out pickups quite easy. You can do a lot of mods to it yourself. You can take the bridge off and change it over. There's even some amazing bridge stuff that's coming out now, where they're floating and all sorts of things like that, where you don't have to route them out like a Floyd Rose. And you can do some amazing things with Strats. And I'm not going to mention names of those brands. You guys can investigate yourselves on them because they're not paying us. But there's a fair few bridges out there that are amazing. And but for me, a Strat will always have its place. A Les Paul will always have its place. I think if you're only going to own two guitars, you'd need some sort of Les Paul style guitar and one sort of Stratocaster guitar. Everything else is is a luxury. You can get that for different tones and this and that, but you always go back to basics. Your basics. A Strat and a Les Paul style body. They don't have to be Gibson, Fender brands, but that style of body will give you a particular tone. And you've even mentioned like with Tokai's and there's other brands that are around that you can well and truly get a really nice Les Paul tone, and you don't have to buy a Fender Strat to get a Strat sound, if that makes sense. You can buy even non-Fender brands and still get a Strat vibe and customize them.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that I'd always recommend that you do if you bought a cheaper Stratocaster, and I've done it here on this one here, so I'll just present myself. You got to change, especially on these classic vibes. They have the thin blocks, and you got to get rid of that thin block. And again, this isn't a Fender block. That's just a cheap Chinese block that I bought for $40 and put that in there. And you got to have 5 strings. You got to have 5 strings on a Stratocaster to get that that tonality, which is really important going through the body. And the 5 strings just gives it, I don't know, something. And Brad and I spoke about this. Hold on, guys. Just give me a second. Brad and I spoke about this because when I bought this here, it only had 3 springs. And I was doing tone comparisons between this and my classic vibe. And I thought, there's something going on. And then realized, So I grabbed some springs, put 2 other springs in there, and that's just what gave it just something. Yeah, I don't know. Brad, maybe guys in the chat might have some experience with that because I don't use a trem. So, but certainly those 5 springs gives it something that I can't describe.
It's interesting you mentioned that because I've been dabbling with taking springs out, putting springs in because I'm I'm trying different things and different styles on my Strat to play, and I'm trying to break out of the norm at the moment. I'm trying some tremolo stuff that I normally wouldn't do on a Strat. Normally, I just hardly ever use a trem bar at all, and obviously getting my Music Man, I'm starting to, I've got a BC Rich as well with a Floyd Rose, which is floating, and I use that for particular reasons. But other than that, I'm not much of a player that does that sort of thing. I've always just been the vibratos and what I can do with my hands and stuff more so. But what I'm saying is I've been dabbling going between 3 springs and then back to 5 and trying all that stuff just to see what works for me. I find 5 springs is way too hard to control your vibratos unless you just, going for that pull down, and it pulls back properly with 5 springs and that. But the 3 springs gives you a little bit more flexibility, but the 5 springs gives you more tone. I found that. It's kind of like that happy balance. I do want to try, and this is the beautiful thing about Strats. You can try different things. You can try 5 springs, try back that claw backwards so you get more flexibility. Is that going to affect the tone? I don't know. But I've been told lots of things, and the one that kind of makes more sense to me is the 5 springs with that claw up against the body. It kind of gives you that edge transfer of tone. And we're getting pretty geeky here too, Andrew. This is geeky stuff. This is not, but I kind of wish I had my first guitar still was a Fender, was a Stratocaster. It was a Japanese made one. It didn't have Squire on it. It wasn't a Squire. It was a Fender Japanese guitar. It was black. I wish I still had that guitar, but I traded that for my first real guitar. So it's kind of like I still got that guitar, if that makes sense. But for me, Strats will always be close to my heart because of the Hendrix thing, the Stevie Ray and all the ones we've spoken about today. And a Les Paul will always have its place for me because of like Jimmy Page and Slash and all the Billy Gibbons, all the dudes that are, to me, the coolest dudes playing a Les Paul, So exactly though, John has mentioned here, Purple Haze on a Les Paul or Sweet Child on a Strat. Why not? You try it. If whatever works for you, it really comes down to personal choice. And I think, I bought my son, he's a muso, but he's not really into guitar at the moment, but he will be at some point. I just know he will. But I bought a guitar for him, which is that black Strat, the Mexican one. I bought it for him. He wasn't really that keen on it, so I bought him a 3/4 guitar, and I took it because I love it, and it's going to be one of my main stage guitars when I get out playing my own stuff. Because my music, for example, is going to be a Les Paul and a Strat on stage. I need to mix it up. I need to have that. That's just what I'm going to be using on stage. And for the songs that I use the Strat on, there's the majority of the tone will be the Fender, and then when I want the Les Paul tone, I'll grab a Les Paul. But my point being is I bought that Mexican Strat. This one. As a gift to my son, and I'm going to keep it because if he ever wants it, he can have it. But the point of the matter is, it's a cool guitar. The neck's amazing on it. It feels great. Plugged in, it's got the tone. I may do a few mods to it. I haven't really just thought about it yet. I may just I have thought about changing the pickups in it. Maybe, I don't know. It's got a cool.
Mate, those pickups are pretty good in those guitars, mate. You wouldn't need to do that, would you?
No, not really. It's got a pretty cool guard. What do you call it? the plate on the back. It's got the authentic Hendrix. So you got Jimmy looking at you.
If you change the pickups, would you make them hotter?
No, I don't really. I may upset some people here, but I'm not with the hot as opposed to. I think it comes down to everyone pays too much attention to the K rating of the pickup. You know what I mean? It's how it's voiced, which is important to me. So, depends on the El Nico style, whatever. So, yeah, it's the pickups in this sound great. It's got a unique tone to it because the pickups, like I said, they're backwards in other ways. So normally that would be here, but it's here.
Hold on, bro. I'll present you.
Yeah. So normally these pickups, the way they're wired, this would normally be facing over the top of this string, which is the bass string, the thicker string. But because Hendrix played his guitar upside down and strung it upside down, they've kind of tried to emulate that by reversing the pickup. And that's how you get that tone. Yeah. So what I'm saying is it's got kind of like a honk to it that's not normal with a Strat. But for me, the neck on these things are great. These are Mexican, by the way. These are built down. The frets are great. I mean, the neck's got a flame in it. It's cool. It's a cool guitar, and for me, and it's not too heavy. It's got But from my understanding, I bought this second hand off a Australian eBay type thing called Gumtree, and I bought it cheap. I bought it so cheap, and it was such a cool investment, really. I mean, my son will have a great guitar if he wants it. If not, I'm using the damn thing.
That's a beautiful guitar. Hey, Brooks, good to see you, man. Good to see you. Thanks for jumping in. We're just hanging out, wrapping up.
He may need to claw my hands off that, mate, because I'm not sure I'll give it back to him.
Indian giver. What do you got there?
This is the white one. So the way the pickups in this are. So this one is wired. So that.
Cheers, John. Thanks for hanging out with us. John Spotting.
John. So if you have a look at the difference, like that bridge pickup is going back towards that way, where on the Hendrix one it goes the opposite way. It goes that way.
That's correct.
So I kind of agree with the way the Hendrix one's set up, to be honest with you. I kind of agree that pickup should go the other way, if that makes sense, because that's a bass string, so it's a bit beefier. So if you reverse that way,
yes,
you get a bit more tightness out of your bottom end, and you get a bit of a warmer tone out of your. Does that make sense? I kind of think that's
big time.
Makes sense to me. But yeah, so this one's a 70s, 79. It's got the bullet truss rod. It's got the big headstock. I've just left this pretty much same tuners that were on it. It's got this, the skunk stripe. It's got the 3-bolt neck. I've backed the tilter neck off it. They get a bit of a bad rap on the internet, but who cares?
Sounds crappy.
Great. See you crappy. And I've gone back to 3 springs on this, and I'm in the process of ordering a new block for this. And I'm going to do some mods to this as well just to get it. But this thing sounds phenomenal, and it's heavy, but I mean, it's got tone. It's not plugged in. It just resonates. It's great guitar. It's everything that's like recorded Strat-wise on my EP is this guitar, just this one. That's it.
Awesome. Bro, I've enjoyed hanging out with you and talking guitars. Always a pleasure. The rock professor is always in the chat, making sure that there's no Mr. and Mr. Potty Mouth here. But we did talk about Simon.
Yeah, we did.
We did talk it. Yeah.
I think we should take the opportunity to also shout out to Warren. Warren. We didn't highlight our EC strats today because we've already done it before. But there you go, buddy. Thanks for all your contributions, and we miss you. Hope you're well. I did see a comment from you yesterday, so I'm glad to know that you're, watching over us like you do, making sure we don't get up to too much mischief. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Anyone in the chat that's not subscribed, make sure you do. Give us all a thumbs up. Head over to our socials and give us a follow up, and we'll keep you up to date. I'm going to be doing some silly stuff over there, which is cool. And go get yourself a Strat. You don't have to spend bucket loads of money on a vintage guitar these days, in my opinion. You can get half decent guitars at a really good price. Obviously, if you've got the money and you can splurge, go crazy. Go to your heart's content. But like I said, Strats are versatile. You can even put a humbucker in the bridge. You can do whatever you like to them. You can get them to do whatever you like. So, bit of a shout out to everyone in the chat. Andrew, have you got the chat open?
Yeah. We've got Jimmy Ray Hawkins joining us in the chat too, a new name. But I just want to echo what Brad said. We always want to do a special shout out to Warren because his contribution to our chat in the past has always been remarkable. His sense of humor shines through. And he's going through some treatment, and we wish you the best, bro. Thank you always.
Of course.
The Rock Professor, our co-host, our partner in crime. The other rat bag that's this guy. Where is he? Where's this guy? This guy. This. Yeah.
He's a character. And he loves his super strats.
Yeah. I'm going to drop Brad and I out of this so you guys can have a look at this. If you guys didn't catch it on the. Hold on, we're going to drop. You guys need to look at this. He's gonna kill us for this. He's gonna kill us. He's gonna send mean messages to Brad and I for this, but we don't care. Hold on. What a handsome devil he is.
Yeah. You know what? He brings a lot of humor to the show. The Reverend knows so much about Van Halen. I think he's probably one of the most knowledgeable dudes on it that I know of. But God, he's a funny character too, isn't he? I'm just going to say something here. He could actually pull off in that attire a Freddie Mercury tribute band.
He just needs yellow pants.
The pink ones will do.
He's gonna kill you, man.
Sorry, Kurt. This is what happens when we have the responsible ones not with us, Andrew. The rat bags. We're the rat bags, mate. We go to town.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's what happens if you're not on the show. If you're not on the show, you're an open target.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. I know you guys have done it to me when I haven't been present. I've watched them back. I've watched them back.
Oh my God, it's great fun. Always a pleasure, bro. I know you guys in Melbourne, in Australia, going through some tough times too. So we don't want to talk too much about that, but support Brad on his Instagram accounts because he's active over there, guys. If you don't have an Instagram account, go and open it because Instagram is the place to be. Yep. Brad's over there, and you'll find Simon and you'll find myself over there. And we are doing a show with Simon, not the Sunday, next Sunday, the Sunday show, but Brad and I will get together. We'll have something here, same time, same place if you guys want to join us.
Yeah, same time, same bat channel. We'll be here. We'll be rat bagging, doing our thing.
Yeah. Dog Pa, thank you for joining us. Mark Tanner, very, very good friend of the channel. He's been sharing our channel on various forums and media streams. Thank you. Deja Verde, been with us for a long time. Derek, outstanding contributions to the show. Jimmy Hawkins, thank you for joining us. Teresa, Dish, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Teresa. Thank you. Another big contributor to the chat. You guys are awesome. Who else have we got here? The Dog Pa, Wolf. Ellen, thank you, Ellen. Even Ellen remembers dancing to Dire Straits, and she even remembers when Neil Diamond were huge. Absolutely, that Hot August Night's a great album. I love that album. Who else have we got here, brother? Arvin, right from the beginning. Arvin, right from the beginning. Deja Voodoo. Who else? Brooks. Thank you, Brooks, for jumping in. John ZD 351. Oh my gosh, we're going back. Johnny Heartbreaker, another good friend of the channel. Another good friend. Oh, I think. Oh, that's it. That's enough. You guys don't want to hear me yelling out your names. You know who you are. And if we forget your names or if we miss your names, wow, you know.
And please, if you haven't done so already, subscribe. And thanks for joining us and indulging us in some, we're indulging in having a bit of a chat about our, favorite guitars and favorite artists. So thanks for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have everyone on board. So subscribe, thumbs up, and thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay. Hold on. I'll go get the video up. Jeepers. Hold on. Bye.
And now it's time for
Oh, that's the wrong one. Jeepers. Hold on.
What are you doing?
You want to see my cockpit, man? I got all the stuff going on here. Hold on.
I'm glad you said pit after the first word.
Oh, someone's texted me. I think. Oh no, I thought it was Rev. I thought it was the Rev. No, it's not. It's not him. It's okay. We're safe. We're safe for a couple of hours. Bye.